This is the FitnessFest Podcast detailing the story of fitness professionals from around the world. Let's get to the episode. Welcome to the FitnessFest Podcast. My name is Tyler Valencia, and I'm the president of KIPS and Kettlebell Concepts. Today we have Andrea Bowden. She is a great certified personal trainer and health coach through ACE. Today we're going to be talking about her journey through creating a change behavior course, obstacle course racing, and starting her business Next Level Fitness Training. Andrea, thank you for coming on the FitnessFest Podcast and being our guest. We got a great episode lined up for everybody. Andrea, why don't you start off with your story in fitness? Can you give the audience a little background on yourself, kind of before you started Next Level Fitness Training?
Sure. Hi. Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me here. It's super fun to talk to you. My story, actually, I like to say that I am a proud card-carrying member of IDEA since 1989. And I noticed a lot of people on the Fitness Fest teaching schedule are in the same boat as I am. So I won't go into like playing record albums and wearing ballet shoes when we first started out. But anyway, I started back then. I was a certified professional back in the mid 1980s, but I also decided that I liked to write. So I went to school for a journalism degree and I worked in public relations. And so I was never fully involved in personal training until relatively recently. So as I worked in the industry, I was also in public relations. I was also a secondary education teacher and a blueberry farmer. And then I ended up with a gym in a little tiny town where I had lived for the last 12 years until recently, and started a gym there. And that's when Next Level Fitness Training was born. It was called a different name, but I changed the name. But then I started in a little tiny town, grew a business there, moved again, and then started an obstacle course racing gym, which was the bomb, and then ran that there. So I've been through a few different careers in the meantime, which is pretty cool. Not too many people say they were blueberry farmers, but so anyway, yeah. So that was kind of my thing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I think the beauty of the fitness industry is people coming from different backgrounds, different experiences, and being able to come into the fitness industry, get their education, get more qualifications. And I feel like everybody has a sense of they want to help others. They want to improve the health of others, and having different backgrounds just allows them to have a different viewpoint on it. You know, the science stays the same. The viewpoints on certain items, those might alter throughout the years, but that background, that experience is something that you can connect with clients. And I think that's always a great thing when you talk to different fitness professionals from different areas. So in your years of being in the fitness industry, how has things changed, and how do you feel like you've also changed with it?
Well, actually, that's a really hard question for me to answer because I lived in a small town for so many years. Mm-hmm. What I think is the most important thing there's always been a focus on education, I think. It's really nice that we have way more access to it as trainers and coaches, way more opportunity to expand. So super appreciate that, what has changed over the years. I would say that was probably the biggest thing as far as a positive change. Yeah, honestly, it's a really difficult question for me to ask because I was in a small town for so long. How I've changed, though, over the years is I really like what you said, where you learn to connect with clients. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that's not a change, but I think as we are more seasoned in our field, it becomes a lot more fun because and so for early trainers, for new trainers, it's just know that eventually you'll get to this point where you can connect better with clients. It just gets really fun the more experience you have because you're, you can talk their language, you just have more to share and And that's really what it's about, really. I mean, anybody can show somebody how to do a lat pull down, but can you connect with somebody in a way that keeps them motivated? That's the big thing.
Very true. Very true. With your experiences and living in a small town, what was that like in terms of marketing in a smaller town and then moving to a bigger
Hmm.
town out here in Arizona?
Hmm. Yeah, I think there's a lot of difference in a small town versus a larger town, and of course, it's all about relationships, no matter where you live. I
Hmm.
still feel like in a small town, you have to tread a little bit of a thinner line with relationships. I think I was able to start because I started over there in 2007, and so people were. I mean, honestly, people didn't know what aerobics was then when I moved there. Honestly, they didn't know what boot camp was. They didn't know what aerobics was. They certainly, and so that's kind of what I brought into that place. But I mean, social media grew it a little bit because there were a few younger people there.
Hmm.
But really building the relationships, I think that is the primary thing. So if you are in a smaller town, here's a couple of things. The obviously, like I said, the building of the relationships. If you, well, I was blessed enough to have people who would work for me for free. So in
Wow.
my little gym, I opened up this gym and we had 5 members when I opened it. And I grew it because I had people who loved teaching Zumba at the time. And there were a few people who were willing to work for zero because they just wanted to teach. And I don't know what the rules are around that, but in small town, it's a little bit different. Be okay with that. Let somebody teach for you for free. So it's just a very different kind of way of thinking about it. Moving to a bigger town, I think I just moved back in September. So, it's just a different way of building relationships. A lot easier in a small town. You just go to the coffee shop. you know, I think we need to create a small town environment in a city. I think that's maybe what it is now that I'm here, I want to be in this neighborhood. And so I create a small town ish in a way, I show up at the same coffee shop each time, those kind of things. And you start building relationships from there.
Hmm. And it's a good point. It's a very good point. I mean, that is such a big aspect of boutique gyms, small businesses, is the community aspect of it. And that's why a lot of members join, is they want to be a part of something more than just showing up, taking a class, going home. They want to feel as if they're a part of that community.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
steps that you take as a small business owner can make a big impact in the long run of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I want to, it's just like, as you're saying this, I'm thinking, isn't it just two kind of different worlds where you work? So if I'm thinking, I like to address personal trainers, particularly new personal trainers, where you're working is a whole different world. If you're working in a big box gym versus if you're working in a PT clinic or if you're working in a small gym, I think
mhm.
it's just night and day difference. It's just a very
Oh
different
yeah.
what you're doing, what your purpose is, what your goals are. They're all very different. So I think even as we're talking here, Tyler, I think we're talking to very different audiences depending on where the trainers are working. So
You're right.
again, if you're thinking about training in a big box gym, then your community is the people who walk in that gym, probably. And then and so if you own your own gym, then obviously your community is the coffee shop and the church and the YMCA, whatever else you do with your free time.
Hmm. Hmm. It, very good points there. Very good points. And to kind of go off a little bit here with the business you started, and what I always think is interesting is with small business owners or business owners in general, is how they got to their business name. So we briefly talked about Next Level Fitness Training prior to pressing the record button today. But how did you settle on that name?
um I think because I kept saying, let's take everybody to the next level. I don't know. My first gym was called Masterpiece Fitness Training. And then
Okay.
I started a program within Masterpiece Fitness Training called Next Level Fitness Training, and it was intended for women who wanted to get serious. So I think it was the beginning of me really developing my avatar. And a huge recommendation, by the way, something that we, kind of mentioned a little bit is just what, that I would like to talk to you about a little bit is just what would you advise somebody who's just starting, learn your avatar.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started developing that Next Level Fitness Training program, brought me joy, it brought me energy, because I'm talking about the women that I really want to serve, women who want to compete, women who maybe have competed this year and want to do better, next year or whatever. And so I developed this kind of way of working, as opposed to just I shouldn't say just but the general fitness clients who are coming in the door, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. But my avatar is really people who are setting ambitious goals, and they need somebody who's going to crack the whip and tell them where to go, tell them what to do, who need a little bit of guidance and those kind of things. So it was really exciting for me. And then when I moved to a new town, so I lived in a little teensy town, and then I moved to a less teensy town, and I changed the name to Next Level Fitness Training, and I kept it here in Arizona as well. But so that was the idea. And then moving to the bigger to small town, when I opened up the obstacle course race training gym, it just made sense. Next Level Fitness Training. So we're taking people to their next level, and it was suitable. It was suitable or fitting, because my logo has a woman, climbing, used like rope climbing, and metaphorically, all those kind of things. I just really like it. I know there are a lot of businesses called Next Level, but I do like it. And I do like fitness training, not fitness, because I'm not a purveyor of fitness. I'm a purveyor of training. I like the aspect of training. And if somebody else is coming up with a fitness, a business name, I would advise that just be really clear. Our words are so powerful. And I don't like when people drop the word training, because that's what we're about. When you come to Next Level Fitness Training, we're about helping you move from one level to the next. And we are doing it in a way that we're training, teaching, coaching you to be autonomous. We're not just having you come in and do some exercises. That's not my purpose for being here. My purpose for being here is teaching people how to be autonomous, which is kind of the basis of the goal setting stuff that I do. Is just, as trainers, I say, we don't want our clients to be leaving because they're bored or because they're unmotivated. Our mission is to have our clients leave because we go, guess what? It's time for you to fly the coop. You're doing great. You're autonomous. You're self-motivated. Go, be free, be on your own. We don't want people leaving because they're going, well, I'm not getting results. I'm not getting motivated or whatever. And I do believe we have to have a much higher, I think we need to have a high standard, that we have a lower tolerance for people leaving because they're unmotivated. And that's on us. That's on us as personal trainers. That's not really them. And in my mind, that's not really on them. That's on us. We are here to be their motivators. We are here to be people who give them the tools so that they can succeed. So, and I liken it to like, I'm not the great at finances. When we bought that blueberry farm, we made a whole lot of mistakes. We lost a crap load of money on that. But if we had a financial advisor, I feel like all I needed was, we needed somebody to come to us once a week and tell us what to do with our money. And I think, and I just think a lot of that's how our clients are. They need us to help them learn how to be autonomous. They do not want to be dependent on us forever. We don't want them to be. We want a healthier nation. We want a healthier communities. There's no more important topic right now than health. There's no more, especially after the last few months, there's no more important topic in my mind than health and wellness. And as far as trainers, it is our responsibility to take people from where they're at into a healthier lifestyle for themselves, for their kids, grandkids, and that.
And it's great that I'll say you hear the passion from just what a business name does for you. It's so distinct that I'll say it flows through you, that what your business name means to you. You know what it means to the training that you're offering for your clients and how you want it to integrate into their lives.
Mhm.
It's I also, it kind of reminds me of when someone wants to start a business, and there's always those business coaches that say, "Oh, you got to have your elevator pitch." I will admit that I've never made an elevator pitch for any of the businesses that I've started. Yeah, I know I'm a little non-traditional in the things that I do with businesses,
Mhm.
um, but I've never done that. And but what I do, I don't have anything against it, but I do like how, you know, you know what those items mean to you, what those words mean to you, what next level fitness training.
Mhm.
Each one has a distinct
Mhm.
purpose in the I'll say the mission
Yeah.
of what you want to accomplish.
Mhm.
You mentioned something though that before we move on to, because I know that we want to talk about change behavior a little later on in this podcast, but you mentioned something that I think would be great to kind of build off of this. Is you mentioned something about an avatar. What is an avatar in terms of um, how that integrates to your business?
Yeah, I think when you are first starting out. So again, I'm just going to kind of talk to new trainers or
Mm-hmm.
people who are kind of just starting out. I don't know why my mind's going there, but I just am. Um, so I think, you might not think who you like to serve best, but I think most of us kind of do know. So I think it's really important that we trust that the people we are resonate with best will come to us. I think we need to trust if we say that we don't really care for working with kids or whatever, that we don't allow somebody to influence us to say, "Oh my gosh, there's so much money in training kids." You know,
Mm-hmm.
you just the joy of your work is so important, as everyone would know. The joy of your job is so important, and you're not in this business or in any business for that matter to not be joyful in it. Serve the people who bring you energy. So I think, looking at who those, where you've been and who those people that give you energy would be. And granted, I mean, my avatar is athletic women, and it's not necessarily professional athletes for sure, definitely not them either, but women who
Mm-hmm.
like to compete. And granted, there's going to be people I love and people who aren't so. But at least we have a shared common goal of wanting to get you from one place to the next. So
Mm-hmm.
um, so I think it's really important to have that avatar and just a word, but that client that you love working with.
That's awesome. That's great. And it's good advice in terms of trainers are sometimes told about, oh, what's going to be your niche market? What type of
Yeah.
clients do you want to attract? And sometimes they don't know those things yet, but going through the process, getting that experience,
Hmm.
working with different populations. And from what you've already shared, you found
Yeah.
what audience you like to work with, what makes you want to get up in the morning,
Yes.
what makes you want to
Hmm.
uh, take that extra client on, whatever that might be. You found that.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that also goes into your business name. It's all part of it.
Yeah.
Um, a good question to ask now before we move on to change behavior items is if you were starting off, or what is the advice that you would give to you starting off from what you know now? So, what is something that you've kind of experienced? And you're like, wow, I wish I had that advice when I first started in the fitness industry.
Yeah. I think it's really similar to what we were just talking about. Uh, Search your mind for what your niche client would be or your avatar or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and trust that you're right. I just feel like in my career I was really influenced. No, 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 you live in a small town, you got to serve everybody. And yeah, I mean, kind of I did, um, but at least leave room for the people you love to work with. I think trust yourself, trust your instincts. Um, Remember that it's the outcome of your life. Is up to you. The outcome of
Mm-hmm.
your schedule is up to you. In a way. I mean, so I you still have to work hard for that. But eventually, you want to be going up the right ladder. You want to be going up, up the right tree or whatever. Um, so I think it's just really important that you find the area, find the client that you like to work with, find the environment you like to work with. So not
Hmm.
find the place. I know people who have built businesses. Portland Outdoor Athletics. He trains people outdoors and he trains them for obstacle course racing.
Wow.
And he works around Portland, so he has a big group to draw from, and
Hmm.
that's how he does it, and he's amazing. Um, and so you could you don't and that's something that's funny because it's something that I had always wanted to do. I always wanted an outdoor business, and I always and I had wanted to do obstacle course racing, but I thought, no, it's never going to happen. So anyway, so I feel like it's just that when I talk about energy, I talk about monkey bars. It brings me energy. Climbing ropes brings me energy. And the women who have done that kind of stuff are the women that just brings me the most joy. So
Love it.
I
Love it. Love it. Love it.
really advise to people to trust yourself, search your mind, do the journaling, do the writing, do the processing, listen to some of the, whatever the books are that's going to help you find the right place, right situation. And even if you can't do it now, like you just need to work, but at least, like you said, Tyler, is just sometimes you just need to experiment a little bit, but just like self-assess, where do I belong?
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Um, with a topic that you and I have connected on outside of the podcast is on education. We both understand the value of education and what it can do for somebody in the fitness industry. You are working on your master's degree right now, and you also stated, I believe you said how you took did you say that you took a health coach certification and you really enjoyed that process and also the information you learned on change behavior? Is that kind of the
Mhm.
route you've gone on so far?
Yeah, actually it was. With ACE, they have a course you can just get like your CECs, behavior change type certificate, as opposed to
Hmm.
certification. So I really, really liked it. And then I did one of the first behavior change certification classes that ACE did. And in fact, I still keep in touch with some of my classmates, by the way, from there. We have a group me together. Um,
Nice.
and 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 I love the behavior change stuff because isn't that what it's about? I
Hmm.
seriously, I mean, you could love the kinesiology, which I have loved. I love the biology. I loved learning how muscles move and when you first start out training, like that's what you just like, where are the trapezius and what do they do? So I love that kind of stuff, but your clients don't necessarily want to know where they are. They just want to know how to stay motivated. And
Hmm.
that behavior change thing was really meaningful to me. And I also did I did some other stuff with ACE that helped me get motivated. The weight management one was really nice as well. And then they did a sport one, not the certification, just the little certificate, the CECs they offer. Um,
Hmm.
so yeah, so that, and then, so getting my master's, I'm getting a master's in psychology with an emphasis on health psychology. And really, because I'm interested in psychology, but man, wouldn't it be cool to be the master of just knowing how to get people motivated? I mean, to me, I just feel like as a trainer, like I said, there is no more important topic right now.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and people, in my opinion, and people need to learn how to make healthy choices. And so I feel like as trainers, we need to get better at that. And I'm really, I'm excited to be moving forward on that.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the business is understanding each client's needs, where
Yeah,
they're coming from,
yeah,
and what are those pieces that you can bring to the table in order to get them to show up, get them to do more than what you're doing in the session, the 1 hour session, one
yeah,
and a half hours, whatever it is that you have with them. How do you get them to make those positive changes?
yeah.
And what are those steps and the language that you use
Mhm.
to communicate it with them? Because even just the communication to them
Yep,
can be a big factor. And if they do adhere to those items,
yep,
so it's such a crucial part of personal training. And in other podcasts, I believe I've talked about how exercise psychology is something that is just entered. I remember when I used to work for the first company, educational company I worked for, Nesta, they were entering into a phase where they added in exercise psychology into the personal trainer manual because it was uncovered through
Mm.
the assessments of the process of accreditation, all that kind of stuff, that exercise psychology is a necessity for an entry level personal trainer.
Yeah.
So that shift, and I mean, that was, let me think, that was maybe 5 years ago,
Mm.
6 years ago that chapter was added in. And you talk to fitness managers, business owners, or somebody that's hiring a personal trainer. That is such a key element of what they're looking for.
Great.
How does this new trainer communicate with clients, potential clients? Are they just standing there? Are they communicating with them? What is it that they're relaying to them? So
Great.
it's
That's
such
good
a
to hear.
big part.
Yeah, that's good to hear. I was thinking, empathy is my word. So empathy. Without empathy,
Hmm.
we don't really, if we don't learn empathy, we don't get there.
Yeah.
That's great. I'm really glad to hear that gyms are really looking for that kind of thing. They're looking for people who are able to relate to their clients like that.
Oh yeah, I know that a executive director of a very large gym chain in this country, that was one of the major things that he expressed to me. He said how he wished that personal trainer manuals had a larger emphasis on the interpersonal skills,
Mm-hmm.
because those are the key items for a new hire.
Mm-hmm.
It's, of course, we want them. We want personal trainers to know the exercise sciences, but in reality, is a chapter on exercise science, 40 to 60 pages on exercise science, is that really going to
Mm-hmm.
make them, I'll say, an expert, or is that really going to help them in the grand scheme?
Mm-hmm.
uh, they're going to need further continued education on those topics.
Right.
They're such in-depth topics that they can't just learn it from 60 pages, 100 pages in
Right.
a entry-level manual. They need more education on it.
Right.
But having information on interpersonal skills is something that's going to help them apply it right away. So, change behavior, it's huge,
Yeah.
and
That's why I really
something that,
appreciated ACE, actually.
and something that you and I have connected on is how motivation plays into our own type of training and what we do outside of the fitness industry. I'm a competitor in the Highland Games, and you
Mhm.
are an obstacle course racer. I'm sure that you take some of those techniques and you apply it yourself, right?
Oh, my behavior change stuff? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was joking with a friend, so I'm running, I run my own business, and I just think
Hmm.
it's so easy. I give advice to everybody to let your yes be yes and your no be no. So I say, one of the secrets to actually achieving your goals is let your yes be yes and your no be no. And so if you have on your calendar, I'm going to run 3 miles tomorrow. When you get up in the morning, run 3 miles. So it's like, and I think it's so easy for me to do that with my exercise routine. But when it comes
Hmm.
to stuff like business, making phone calls, doing things like that, maybe not today. So I have like the empathy for people who don't have that for exercise, but might have that for business. And speaking of that too, I just think as far as empathy, I just think as a trainer, it's really important to start realizing, like, how am I like this client? I might be really good with exercise, but I'm not so good with finances or whatever it is. And I understand where this person is coming from, and I know that she didn't do the workout she was supposed to do yesterday, but I get it because I don't always do whatever myself.
Hmm.
So
It's sometimes hard for people to realize those things, and it's I mean, that's an evolution of
mhm.
uh, a personal trainer, is their ability to realize those things and understand that not everybody likes exercise like we do.
Yeah,
Personal trainers,
yeah,
they
yeah,
tend to get in the industry because they love it, they enjoy it, and they want to share it, but not everybody has that same passion.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I was never athletic as a child. I wasn't in sports. A super, super, super insecure person. I was anorexic, and I started running when I was 13, and it was
Hmm.
mostly to keep the weight off, and
Hmm.
so I was never athletic, and I feel like it's a little bit of an advantage as an older person because I don't have these memories of grinding away on the track, with my track coach or that kind of thing. So I actually really enjoy it, and yes, I do practice some of those motivation techniques too, and I have used Spartan as a huge goal for me, and really having a little bit of a difficult time with everything closed down. I just found out that the Spartan stadium race, which was going as of a couple weeks ago, it was on and now it's off. And
Mm.
I'm training for it. I'm training hard for it. And then I found out yesterday
Mhm.
while I was in the middle of my training routine that they're not having it. And so now I'm in a place where maybe I could empathize with another member or another client, where they're like, I don't really have a goal. Why am I waking up in the morning? Um,
Yeah.
so I feel like we need goals. I feel like we need some kind of reason, some kind of why. So,
Oh yeah, it's big. I mean, at the time, and we've kind of gone over this, and at the time of this recording, we're we don't know where we are in terms of the global pandemic, and
mhm,
so having these types of goals, it's hard to find them. I know that I experienced that,
mhm,
and I set miniature goals for myself in terms of back squats or
mhm,
deadlifts, and things that I have access to.
mhm,
And being a competitor in the Highland Games, it's nice to look forward to certain things. And just as you said, it helps you get up in the morning. It helps you
mhm,
do an extra set if that's part of your program, or helps you push through in those moments because those you want that payoff. You want to experience a personal best. And so
mhm, mhm.
when we don't have those goals, it's that thought process. It's tough to go through. It's a hard
Yeah.
it's a hard thought process. And it's great, and this is gold for personal trainers in my opinion, about being able to take that step back
Mhm.
and understand that thought process, because you know you might not understand it right away, that okay, yeah, I'm sure that these negative thoughts I'm having, but my members are probably having them,
Yeah.
my clients are probably having those types of thoughts.
Yes, yes, yes. So what do I do to get myself going? And then I can pass that on to them to do that.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. Very much. And
well, we are
what
teachers. We are teachers. We have to, everything, I feel like everything we experience or things that we experience, we have to figure out ways to put them in words so we can help our
hmm
kids learn. Because again, it's about teaching them autonomy.
hmm
We're not there to show them how to do a lat pull down. We're there to show them how to do health and wellness on their own.
hmm Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. When did you get into obstacle course racing?
I got into it in 2014. I think it was like 2014. My friend brought me to a race called Dirty Dash, and it was
Hmm.
a fun race. It was just like a goofy fun race, and I kind of liked it. And then another friend of mine had a race, and it's gone under since, and it was called. I can't remember. Anyway, I did that one. It was a blast. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Everything, heavy carries, everything, because I love strength training. So I like to lift weights, and then I like to trail run. So it was the best of both worlds. And then I ended up doing a Spartan, and I'm like, oh, sold, like sold. And mostly because they have the different distances, and they have all these different, achievement things that you can do within their company. And also it's just, the obstacles are just amazing and such a huge challenge. I love it. But you know what? They're the Spartan is scary for people because you do have the burpee penalty and all that.
Hmm.
So for beginners, it is a huge challenge. And one of my favorite quote is, set a goal so high you can't achieve it until you become the person who can. And
Mm.
and I think and I don't remember who said it. It's a famous quote, but I have that. It's my favorite of all, because if you set a goal like a Spartan, and I set the goal to win a Spartan, so I wanted to win one. And at the time, I just opened my gym, and I think The chances are really, really slim. First of all, I was in my late 40s at the time, early 50s. And so that's not going to happen, right? I mean, now they do age groups, and I have that, it's better for me. But still, I became a different person. I became a person who started believing in myself. And this is the beauty with obstacle course racing. The metaphors with conquering obstacles and then in life is just so real. And I know you can do it in the gym, and you can do it with gym time as well. But I think with obstacles, it becomes so real. Getting somebody to go over an 8-foot wall, are you kidding me? Getting somebody to climb a rope, are you kidding me? That is the best feeling in the world when you see people climb
Mhm.
that rope who could not climb that rope, 4 days ago,
Mhm.
whatever. It's the best feeling in the world. And when you live a life of working with clients where you help them set a goal so big they can't achieve it until they become the people who can, you're creating a world around you where people are becoming people who believe in themselves. I do this process with all of my new clients, and I say, pick 3 words that you want to feel, at least 3 words. Use a thesaurus if you need to, because I like creative words. And most people put strong. Most people put confident by a long shot. So those are huge words, and how perfect for obstacle course racing, by the way. Strong and confident are just 2 huge words for that sport. Um, so you do a little rating. How strong do you feel now? And then when they climb a rope, how strong and confident do you feel now? I mean, it's so cool. And they have become stronger people. They have become more confident people. So it's not about winning the race. It's not even about completing the race if you don't want to do that, but it's about becoming that person. And I think it's the quintessential, the process is the thing that's the most important. And you don't really get it until you get it, because people always say, oh, it's the process. It's not the award. No, it is the award, but the process, like if you really look back and you go, the process made me better. Um,
Mhm.
and that I just love that sport for all that. And I know, like, my husband plays tennis and he gets the same results out of tennis. But I think
Awesome.
obstacle course racing is such a great sport for that. And it's strength training, because you have to do strength training. It's getting on
Mhm.
your feet and getting in the trails, because most of the races are that way, not all. And then it's conquering obstacles where you just, to me, it's just everything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's awesome. And I can see, I know I've said this already. I see how this all ties into next level fitness training.
Yeah.
It's a part of
Mhm.
every element, the outlook
Yeah.
and what you want to give and provide for your members.
Thank
It's
you.
all a part of it,
Thank
which is great. And,
you.
that experience of, when you start off and living in a small town, working in a small town, moving around. I mean, you took pieces from that
Yeah.
to develop what you're doing now, and you found what you enjoy doing, what you enjoy providing for your members.
Mhm.
Um, as we're wrapping things up right now, I don't want to forget for you to share your I'll say your achievements in obstacle course racing. Can you share some of the things and awards that you've gotten so far?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was going to say I am honored to be the first collegiate obstacle course race training coach in the nation. So I was the first.
Wow.
And in fact, that school is still the only school, and they do offer scholarships, and it's Umpqua Community College in Roseburg, Oregon. They do,
Hmm.
they are still, if people are obstacle course racers and they want to go to community college, they still are offering that. And we built an obstacle course racing place. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's an amazing place to train. And the fact that they are the only college in the nation offering it is shocking to me. So that it was my joy. It was my absolute utter joy. I loved working. I had very few women, but the men and women and the guys, boy, who knew that it would be so fun? Kept saying I would have had kids if I knew boys were so much fun. They were they were so awesome to work with. So that is probably my most honored achievement, is being a coach for
Hmm.
those people. But also, I was able to podium a few times at Spartan. I did get a gold in my age group, and then I did get a silver in my age group. And the number one, the fastest obstacle course racer in my age group is in Arizona, and her name is Andrea Bowden, and she's awesome.
Hmm.
So I have her to contend with whenever I get out there. So I'm excited for that to happen, but I don't think I'll ever beat her. But anyway, so that, and I did win. My favorite is when terrain race was first started, I won a terrain race against 20-year-olds. So
Wow.
I was in my early 50s, when I won, and then and that was in Eugene, and then I got a second place in Arizona in terrain against 20-year-olds, and that was so exciting. Let me tell you, when you get a podium, you really want to race to win. So those were super fun.
I bet. Can you provide listeners information on Next Level Fitness Training, social media sites, on the accounts, and also for you as well?
Yeah, I have a website, and it's an amazing one. And it's iamnextlevelfit.com. And I have all my social media on there. I have some YouTube channel, and the links are all in there. So YouTube, Instagram, blah, all that stuff, Facebook, all that stuff. So
Awesome.
yeah, I would love to connect with people. If there are any trainers who would like, just to anytime connect with me, I would love that, especially new trainers. The other thing I just want to mention too, just if I can, is I'm working on a retreat for women athletes, and I would love to connect with some women who would be interested in that. So I want to do it's a behavior change oriented retreat for women athletes who want to be better this year. So what we do is go over some tools that they can use so this thing that they love, this sport that they love, can be something that fits into their life if they're married or if they have kids or whatever is going on, or careers and all that we could leave as people with tools so that we can continue to compete and do well, and feel, for lack of a better word, balanced, and that's a retreat that I'm getting together for women.
There we go. Awesome stuff, Andrea. Thank you for coming on the FitnessFest podcast, sharing your story, all the stuff that you love, and especially how everything ties into your business name, what you want to provide, all that great stuff. Really appreciate it.